So I'm back here at Hersheypark, riding one of the coasters that I dislike the most, Skyrush.
Do you really want to hurt me?
But to make it better, I'm wearing a shirt of a ride that's even worse.
Do you really want to make me cry?
So let's see how it stacks up. Skyrush is the bane of my coaster existence. It was high on my bucket list, and I was looking forward to it being the best coaster in Pennsylvania before my trip in 2018. But there was always that one caveat, that asterisk, those lap bars.
Why are you the way that you are? Honestly, every time I try to do something fun or exciting, you make it not that way.
Most people put their hands up on coasters and let the lap bar do whatever it wants. And usually that means click down until it can't anymore. I always hold the restraint up on every coaster, no matter what coaster, with the exception of single position lap bars. You know the line, don't staple me, bro. It doesn't just apply to ride-ops, it applies to the coaster too. Those positive G moments will staple you unless you hold the lap bar up. So I'm thinking, who cares about the bad restraints? I'll just hold it up. And then I wrote it.
I hate so much about the things that you choose to be.
Holding it up did not help at all. I got 2 back row rides and each was equally terrible. I ended up with searing thigh pain on the brake run. I declared that Skyrush sucked, and then I moved on. So I just got off of Skyrush, and I don't get it. I really don't. For one, the worst trains ever. In order to dispatch, they have to staple you in order to get the green light. I got a wing seat in the back row, and it was super rattly. And they take like 10 minutes to dispatch the damn train. Yeah, that wasn't good. Sitting on the brake run with the lap bar crushing your legs. No. I'll try it again later, but yeah, I don't think this ride's for me.
2 hours later.
We rode Skyrush again, second time, and the last time. I think everyone agrees on that. No more Skyrush. Whoever designed those trains should not be allowed to design roller coasters or roller coaster trains. It's just not pleasant. And on top of that, the layout's not even that good either. The drop's okay. But if you'd have told me before the trip that Skyrush would not even make my top 50, I would not have believed you, but here we are. Skyrush, not good. Not a fan. Not a fan at all. And all my viewers either told me to shove it or totally agreed with me. And a lot of people gave me advice for how to ride it. 2 years later, and I came back to Hersheypark for more. I got 2 more rides on Skyrush, and I walked away with a different outlook on this coaster. This is round 2 of my battle with Skyrush. For everyone who tells me that they can ride Skyrush without any pain, I say more power to you. I could see why people could love it if they can ride it without having their legs go numb. This is why I didn't consider the ride overrated, at least at the time. It was just a personal problem that I had with it. I'm not skinny or fat or super tall or super short, so whatever the reason, it bothered me more than it bothers other people. I ended up riding in the exact same seats as last time, back right wing and back middle. I went back at the end of the day to try the front row, but the ride shut down for the night because of a light rain. The op told us that Skyrush and Candemonium closes for rain because it's painful to have the rain pelt you in the face on those fast rides. I think that should be the rider's choice, but that's just my opinion. So even though I rode the same 2 seats, I had a very different opinion from last time. A couple things didn't change. First, that lift is insane. It's gotta be the fastest non-launch lift that I've ever seen. Skyrush. I get it now. It's powered by a cable lift, and it does slow down a lot at the top, so it doesn't throw the train over the drop so violently. I can't imagine what the ride would be like if it actually kept that top lift speed. It probably would feel like the second half of the trimless Voyage. Also, the wing seats rattle like crazy. This seems to be common with other Intamin coasters. I see this with Millennium Force, the Superman clones, and Fahrenheit in the same park. Because the wing seats hang off the side of the track, that rattle is really noticeable. Not a huge deal, but still annoying. The first thing that I noticed is that the drop was a lot better than I remember. and I think you get that full effect in the back row. It's such a strange drop because you hit that maximum vertical angle at the bottom of the drop, so you're almost leveling out by the time you get ejected out of your seat. If you could avoid getting stapled in the station, this drop is really good because you should still have some room. I mocked it a little bit on my best first drops video. Number 1. Not Skyrush. People rave about this drop, but I thought it was forgettable. Probably because my legs were already being sawed off by the lap bar. You didn't think I could actually go through a whole video without trashing Skyrush, did you? And even though I don't put this high on my list, it's still a good drop. So I'm sorry, it did not deserve to get called out like that. The bottom of the first drop and that high speed turn is usually where the lap bar comes down hard, no matter if you're holding onto it or not. But if you can spare half an inch, the first airtime hill is awesome. It's the kind of ejector that'll throw your stomach into your throat. Let's just run over the remainder of the layout before I analyze it. There's a 270-degree turn into a smaller airtime hill that goes underneath the first one. Then a 180-degree turn into a high banked hill, another 180-degree turn that goes into one of those I-305 style cutbacks, and then one more airtime hill before a bank turn dips you into the brake run. Okay, first off, when I hit the brake run on these two rides, I was pretty stapled, but I was not in horrible pain. This was a big deal. It was hard to judge the elements when all I could think about was the stupid lunch tray lap bar crushing my legs.
Wow, great reflexes.
I think the main reason that it didn't hurt this time around was that the ride was not running as fast as before. This last visit in 2020 was on an overcast day, not warm at all. And I think it was running slower than the last time I rode it. That day was miserable, hot, and humid back in 2018. This is both a good thing and a bad thing. It's good because the lap bar did not crush me, and it's bad because it was running slower and the elements didn't pop. But let's talk about that layout after the first ejector hill. The 270-degree turn could make you gray out. It's kind of a mini version of I-305's blackout turn, and it's easily the most intense part of the ride. That airtime hill afterward is drawn out, and it doesn't do much, at least on this day. Another turn and a high bank turn into another turn. These elements are a dead part of the ride. The I-305 style cutback is a nice lateral airtime moment, and then the final airtime hill is strong, but by that time, airtime is irrelevant because you're definitely stapled. After that final bank turn, it's basically straight track into the brakes. So finally riding without the pain, it made me realize that this layout is weak. Good drop, good first hill, and I like that cutback. People who love intensity may like that 270-degree turn. The rest of the ride just seems like filler. I'm not sure what people see in it to rank it in their top 10 lists. But then again, if the ride was running faster, maybe the ride would have been more aggressive. But that would have cut my legs off. So you see my dilemma. Before this trip, I had Skyrush ranked at number 198. And that ranking has changed just a little bit. And now I am willing to move it into my top 100. But despite moving it up about 100 spots, I still think it's massively overrated. I still hate the lap bars, but I don't think they're as dreadful as before. But I had respect for the ride itself for its aggressiveness. But now I realize that other than 3 good elements, it leaves a lot to be desired. I don't think this is necessarily Intamin's fault because they were building the ride in a tiny space and they did what they could. But given the praise it gets in the coaster world, you would think it would have a better layout. I want you all to sound off on Skyrush in the comments below. I want to see how many people watching this agree with the old me that this is a torture device, or agree with the new me that the layout isn't good, or disagree with me entirely and think this is an elite coaster that has a spot in their top 10. This is the most polarizing coaster I've ever seen, and that makes it a fun coaster to debate. If you like this video, be sure to drop a like, and if you hated it, still leave a pity like, because it really does help out the channel. And be sure to give me a sub if you haven't done so yet, and I'll see you guys all next time. First time on Skyrush in 2 years, I got to ride it with... Come on, Great Bear. First time on Skyrush in 2 years, I got to ride it with Zach from Theme Park Media himself. Back row, wing seat, not as painful as before, but still crushes your thighs, so no airtime. And the layout kind of sucks. What do you think, Zach?
I rode in the middle seat twice today, and I think the middle seat's not as readily as the side seats. I can kind of agree with the layout. It's kind of like airtime turn, which is fine. But for this type of restraint and this type of style coaster, I don't think it's the strongest layout they could have chosen.
So I don't hate you as much as before, Skyrush, but you're still not a great ride.